being here with us today. I'm Ron Nowacek, president of Frostburg State University. It's a busy weekend, and one of the events that we have this morning is the dedication of the S.A.F.E office in honor of Don Swogger. I just want to share very quickly, we have a number of people who give comments. Don, one of the things that I've always found you to be most helpful with is, well, besides being a baseball coach and being my son's team, but other than that, the opportunity to help me connect with the students. As you know, we've had a number of opportunities where I wanted to meet with students in the residence halls informally. Don took care of it. Don had people there, had them engaged. It was the kind of thing that I think is really indicative of the work that Don does here for our students. And this is really a great honor, and thank you for all you have done at this university over the years. I think the fact that people online can't see this great crowd here this morning to celebrate this special day with Don. So Don, let me thank you again for everything you've done. Congratulations for this room. And at this point, I want to introduce Jeff Graham, the Senior Vice President from Student Affairs.
Thank you very much. Congratulations, Don. Glad everyone's here. I was hoping y'all would be in chairs because I have about 45 minutes of remarks, so we might have to share bench time. But I did want to recognize Dr. Artie Travis as our Vice President of Student Affairs. Dr. Travis deferred this opportunity for me because Dawn and I have had a long, enduring relationship. Dawn's been here 31 years. Wow. Pretty amazing. I have the privilege to work with Dawn for the last 16, but that's since 1991. Context of history, think about some of the things in 1991. Desert Storm was happening in the Middle East after the Kuwait invasion. We had some really kind of big national leaders emerge at that time with Colin Powell and Norman Schwarzkopf. Locally in our country, whether this is good or bad, the first launch of the internet kind of changed life as we know it. We used to connect with one another, person to person. Now it's really kind of changed the whole atmosphere of how we connect. And I would say Don is one of those old school guys that misses that personal connection, and probably would like to erase that part of 1991. You know, he's an avid sports fan. He and I get the opportunity to talk about sports a lot. He's my sports go-to guy here at the university, so we sit down and have some robust conversations about that. But the Minnesota Twins won the World Series that year, which was, yeah.
Stats.
And the Redskins won the Super Bowl. One of the many times that, if you're a Buffalo fan, I'm sorry that you were beat that year. One of many, many times you lost the Super Bowl. But you know, Don, what he built through the Peer Education Network, it's a testimony. It really is. Don is a spiritual man. Don is a man that believes that his work matters, and it matters through the Lord. It does. And it matters to Don that he has been able to impact students for all these years, and what he has built here in terms of peer education. He's the Berg Peer Education Network. A lot of people don't know that they've been nationally recognized for years as being the pinnacle of peer education at colleges and universities across the country. The health education information that you disseminate is absolutely critical, because that's how students tend to learn, is peer to peer rather than expert to student. So what you do is grateful. I'm so glad that there are former folks here, and for what your foundation, the Berg alumni have been able to do is just absolutely incredible, and I'm so glad that we're going to get to hear from you very shortly. And just kind of finally, one of the things that a lot of you know, that Don gives a lot of time to the institution. He also gives a lot of time to his community. He's actively engaged in his church, but more so, he's been involved in coaching sports, particularly baseball, for years, for decades. And he and I have had these conversations. Working at a university, teaching is the same activity that you do when you coach. It's the same activity you do when you lead others. They're all intertwined. And Don is a great teacher. He's a great coach. He's a great mentor. Sometimes his record's not that great, but he's a great coach. He's a great coach.
Except a couple years ago when we won the championship.
Yeah. But more effectively, Don is a great leader. He truly is, because he truly cares, and he's a servant leader. And I'm proud that I've had the privilege to work with him, and I'm proud that he's a good friend of mine. And congratulations to you again.
Thank you, sir.
So we're now privileged to hear from Alexandra Schofield. She is the current president of the Berg Peer Education Network.
So many of you may not know this, but I'm actually a second generation Berg peer educator. Both my aunt and uncle were a part of Berg when they were here in 1996. And when they heard that I had decided to come to Frostburg, they were like, Alex, you gotta meet Don. Even if it's not for you, you gotta go in, you gotta see him, you gotta hear what it's all about. And I did, and here I stand as the current president of the network. Don is great. We love Don. He is such a great mentor to us. He really is an amazing father figure to all of us in the network. Whenever we need something good or bad, he's always there to talk. He's super fun to hang out with. He's a little bit of a chaotic driver. Only if we're driving in big passenger vans. Whips the curves a little.
My driving privilege.
Okay. But he makes up with it with his awesome karaoke skills. He always has an inspirational quote for us. He is literally the wind beneath our wings. We would not be able to do what we do here without him. As peer educators, we love going out and talking to students, and we love making that connection, and we wouldn't be able to do that without Don. He teaches us how to be better, not just as educators in the network, but as people, as students, and we love him and we appreciate him so much. Oh, sorry, I left without introducing Jamie. So sorry. Up next is Jamie Myers, class of '98.
Thank you very much. I had a friend of mine, Chuck, call me a few weeks ago. He said, hey, I need you for this thing for May 6th. I said, sorry, I got to be at Frostburg to honor Don, so my apologies to the king. So, but no, it's an absolute honor and a privilege to be here. I want to first thank the university for allowing us to recognize Don like this. I'd like to thank all the fellow Berg alumni, family, and friends who also contributed to this effort to make this dream come true. So I'm very, very excited to be here to do this. 29 years ago, in 1994, I was accepted to Frostburg. I was the first of my generation and first of my family to go to college. And when I was looking into Frostburg, I saw this advertisement for the Gold program, which I thought if I joined it, I might get like a little kickback, like a scholarship or something to help my family. But I got into the program, and one of the stipulations was you had to join an organization and kind of, observe that leader and see, how that organization would go. And one of the girls in my dorm, she said she was going to the Berg program. I said, what's Berg? She's like, oh, well, at the time it stood for boozing under reasonable guidelines. not Don's
I didn't
term.
name that.
Not Don's, no.
I can't take any credit for that.
But when I went there, I was kind of like, well, I'm not gonna, I drink, I party. I didn't come to college to, do the opposite. But Don saw something in me that I didn't, and that's something that I'll be forever grateful that Don, told me that I had the talent, the skills, and the ability to lead this program. And some of the best memories at Frostburg was with this group. Ice in the pillowcases, milkshakes being spilled, running through red lights, visiting Don in the hospital.
I need to start taking notes.
Being in the hospital. Yes.
Visiting Don in the hospital. We drove him crazy enough. We had to put him in the hospital on one trip, but he survived and he's still here. But when we won the Outstanding Chapter Award for the Bacchus Gamma event down in Orlando, I remember Don telling us, because it was only a handful of us could go to the conference. And we came back, we had the plaque that's still on the wall, and we had the whole group of everyone who weren't there. And Don said, like, this thing here, it's metal and wood, it's all it is. But it's like the memory and the impact you guys are making is what really makes the true difference. And I had a friend pass away a couple weeks ago, very sudden. And it just shook me to my core, because he's like one of my Rushmore folks, like Don, who was the most impactful person in my life besides my parents. And I remember calling my wife, and the next call was to Don, just to tell him I loved him. And I love you. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud that hopefully other students and other alumni will see this, and they'll see what a mentor is and be able to recognize their mentors in the future. And thank you for all the impact you've done in my life. I'm so proud of all the impact you've done in everyone else's lives you've touched. And I love you. Thanks. Now it's my great honor to introduce Don Swogger.
I don't know how to follow any of that. I just want to say thank you so much for being here and loving on me and supporting me. And for those in Facebook land, hello, welcome. And I know that you couldn't be here because you're busy and you have kids and grandkids and life is busy, but you're out there, and I certainly appreciate you as well. Faith, family, and friends are the most important thing to me. And I would be amiss if I didn't give glory and honor to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, because without Him, I wouldn't be here. He saw someone who grew up in a very adverse situation and plucked me out of that situation and gave me hope and love and gift. And I just, every day, try to share my love and my gifts with the people around me, especially my students. And so I just give Him glory, first of all. Family. Last month, April 17th, 1982, I asked this beautiful bride of mine to go out with me. And she said yes. And we've been together ever since. Maureen, I love you. I thank you for your support. She prays for me every day. Since she's retired, she texts me every day. And with scripture and inspiration. I love you so much. I couldn't do it without you. When I went to graduate school, when I didn't believe in myself, she believed in me. Proofed all my papers. I got an A because she proofed for me. So thank you, honey. I love you so much. The other joys of my life, my boys, Jordan and Justin. I'm so proud of you guys. They made sacrifices, especially when I was younger. I used to tell my students I'm going to bring some birth control, to the event tonight, and they would look at me like, "What?" I said, "Just hold on." And I would bring my boys to the event, and my students would literally be wiped out by the end of the event. And they said, "Oh, Don, we know what you mean when you said that you were going to bring some birth control tonight." But guys, thank you so much, for hanging out, with the extended family. And man, I'm so proud of you guys. Your endurance, your character. I just couldn't be more proud of Daddy to see the men that you've become. And I love you both. My family at home who couldn't be here, you know who you are. My Strength Quest gift is inclusion. I could be here all day long because I want to include everybody. And when you start naming names, you're going to get in trouble because you'll leave somebody out, and I certainly don't want to do that. So I won't be naming a whole lot of names. But you're near and dear to my heart. I hope you know that. And so, my family back home in Yens County, Western Pennsylvania, I know that you couldn't be here, and that's okay, but I can't wait to see you so that we can celebrate in person. friends. I look around and just see such great friends and family, and it's just such an encouragement to me to have the privilege to love on young people. I just want to thank my division, my leaders in my division, my mentors that I had and have that are much smarter than I am, and that I learn from them every single day. Our division, student affairs, our leadership team, and the people that I have the privilege to stand next to every day in the trenches, loving on our students. I'm just honored and privileged to be able to serve with them as well. And this is a great honor. I don't even know how to act or react. When I first was notified, I was like, are you sure? I mean, seriously, it's like, I don't know about that one. And I was in such denial. And because it's so easy to recognize my students. I love doing that. I love just, speaking a kind word to them, or maybe buying them something, or taking them on a road trip, or sitting down and just sharing whatever is on their hearts. It's much easier to be on the other end, so it's a little difficult to be on this end. But I want to thank you. Thank you for this honor. I am humbled. I am truly humbled that you all would love on me to make this day a very special day. But I have to be completely honest with you. Above this honor is my honor to love my students. From 1992 to 2023, current students, former students, that's my honor. As it relates to my career, that's my honor. To pour into your life, to listen to your heart, to listen to your accomplishments and your stories, to watch you come in as freshmen, shy, a little introverted, and there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. You don't have to be extroverted. But to see you come in and join an organization, man, and then to walk that stage 4 years later, some 5. Wow, what a privilege to see young people. Years ago, I said, Lord, I don't know what I want to do when I grow up. I still don't know that, by the way. But I do know this. I'd really appreciate it if I could work with young people. God has honored that. Man, I've had the privilege of working with young people. 31 of those years here, working with Frostburg State University students. What an honor. That's the true honor, is listening to your hearts, watching you grow. I'm so proud of you. This guy here, he's been faithful to stay friends with me over all these years. 2-term president, just knocked it out of the park and continues to knock it out of the park, as a professional, as a friend, as a husband, as a father. Man, I couldn't be more proud of you, buddy. And I know it was you that was behind all of this, and other students and alum, you're out there. I know who you are. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you so much. Again, the gift of inclusion, you can go on and on, Doctor. But you know what? I'll call it quits. Because you know what? You all have stuff to do. It's a beautiful day, and I want to thank you again for being here and helping me celebrate this moment. I love you, and I'm very, very proud of each of you. And thank you for serving along with me. And who knows? Maybe 31 more years of making a difference on this campus, eh? Thank you.
1, 2, 3.